Hi, this is Lori Kissell. I picked Jupiter's Aeneid, Fama, and Imperium by Julia Hejduk, or Hejduk. I'm not quite sure how we pronounce that. It's from the Classical Antiquity Journal, Volume 28, Number 2, October 2009, pages 279 through 327. Our abstract tells us that this is a conflict between Jupiter and Juno in the Aeneid, usually seen as forces of order. Jupiter's side, masculine, rational, and good, versus the forces of chaos, feminine, irrational, and evil. Hejduk argues that Jupiter is only concerned with power, as in Roman Imperium, and adulation, Fama, and makes her case in three parts. First, by discussing every appearance of Jupiter through his own speeches. Second, Jupiter's motivations are often misconstrued by the human characters, but confirmed by an omniscient narrator. And third, the implications of this has Jupiter or Virgil's vision of Rome and human happiness. The most powerful quotation in this that I found is, Jupiter's interest in power is not merely an end for itself, but also as a means to contain the chaos he fears, shown in Aeneid, Book 1, line 61. Second, in addition to power, Jupiter has one other concern, honor. Not the internal quality of moral uprightness, that is, but the adulation from others, which for divinities consists of prayers, voda, and sacrifices, honores, for mortals, and sometimes divinities too, of nomen and fama. Beyond power and adulation, however, it is accurate to say that Jupiter has no other concerns. Okay, so where does Jupiter appear and what happens when he does? His first appearance is when he is consoling Venus in Book 1, 254 through 96. This is not an optimistic speech as is often construed. Instead, it predicts centuries of war with grim peace, not agricultural bounty and prosperity. It's only an absence of war, and peace is shown as a gory, rabid figure in the Temple of Janus. No mention is made of any positives of Roman rule, not even the grudging ones brought up in the Life of Brian movie. Even the small positive bits, that Troy will survive, rises in order to acquire the only two things that matter, Imperium and Fama. It is a majestic speech, but nothing in it of human happiness. The second major appearance is when he is dispatching Mercury. Iarbas has gotten Jupiter's attention by targeting his weak spots. He's questioned his power and the Fama which comes from it. By suggesting that Jupiter is an empty god not worth worshipping, Iarbas gets under his skin. Iarbas didn't get the power from uniting with Dido, therefore Aeneas shouldn't either. Jupiter's angry that Aeneas tarries in Carthage, waiting for the wrong city. Jupiter has no concept of staying there because he actually enjoys Dido, not hoping to take her city. The third appearance from Jupiter is when he makes a promise to Cybele. He says that her grove was given to build Aeneas' fleet, and now Turnus is about to burn it. His mother appeals to him through sentiment. Your dear mother asks him on behalf of her beloved grove, and he answers with the language of command and power. He talks of violence, ripping away the mortal forms and ordering them into sea goddesses. No kind human virtues or emotions here. His fourth appearance, when he is addressing the Council of the Gods, in Book 10, lines 1 through 117. This is only the one time that this Council of Gods is summoned in the Aeneid, because the gods instigated war between the Italians and the Trojans against Jupiter's decree. But that instigation contradicts his promise to Venus that Aeneas would have his war in Italy. His promises to be impartial contradict his actions in keeping Paulus and Lausus apart, yet nudging Mezentius into battle. Jupiter lies after swearing on the river Styx, or maybe it's not really a lie, since it follows his indifference to morality and his preoccupation with his own Imperium here. His fifth appearance is when he consoles Hercules in Books 10, 464 through 73. Hercules weeps over the impending death of Pallas, who could be his own son, and Jupiter consoles him that mortals have short, limited lifespans, and time of death is fixed, and anyway, lots of sons of gods fell at Troy, even Sarpedon, one of Jupiter's. Jupiter doesn't cry or truly commiserate with his son over the upcoming loss of his son/grandson. No sympathy, just indifference. Quite a marked contrast to the Iliad, Book 16, lines 431 through 38, where Zeus agonizes over Sarpedon's coming death at the hands of Patroclus. His sixth appearance is negotiating with Juno over Turnus, also in Book 10, lines 606 through 32. Here, Aeneas has committed a series of atrocities: human sacrifice, mocking a father's plea, sacrificing a priest, taunting a warrior with lack of burial, even echoing Pyrrhus' speech to Priam, and it's here that Jupiter praises his actions. Jupiter's only stated approval for any action in the entire poem comes after Aeneas' cruelest rampage. Juno appeals on Turnus' behalf, as he has offered many honores to Jupiter. Jupiter responds completely unsympathetically. The seventh appearance is when he is effecting a reconciliation with Juno in Book 12, 791 through 842. Rather than answering why good or innocent or known for pietas men suffer, Jupiter recasts arguments on his terms. Since Aeneas will have an apotheosis, it's not fitting for him to have a mortal wound. It's not fitting for the conquered to become powerful, therefore no sparing of Turnus and the Italian allies, both of which violate Imperium as he sees it. Juno needs to stop complaining to him, as that violates his Fama, his right not to be troubled by her complaints. He orders Juno to stop her mischief, not from compassion for humans, but because it violates order, his Imperium again. But don't worry, the Ausonians will keep their language and their mores. The resultant hybrid race will worship Juno, certainly a priority in keeping with his idea of Imperium and Fama. Jupiter does make other encounters throughout the poem, and these fall into 5 types. First, there's that pesky concept of rape, whereas the encounters between gods and humans are sometimes mutual. Virgil doesn't use that. He uses the term rapere, implying violence, grabbing, and domination. This is one of the causes of the war, perhaps invented by and definitely expanded by Virgil, involving Ganymede and Juno's hatred. Jupiter also appears in moments of punishment, but the only things he punishes in the Aeneid are violations of rank, where a mortal tries to cross over to the immortal, and the very worst thing that he punishes is the violation in rank attempting to usurp Jupiter's honor. For example, a passage where in Book 6, lines 580 through 94, where they recount the punishments of the Titans, the Aloidai, Salmoneus, and the longest description for the very worst crime is that of Salmoneus, who tried to usurp Jupiter's rank. Jupiter appears in nature. He is a storm and weather god in charge of air. He's in charge of Aether, the serene upper air, and Juno gets air, the turbulent lower air. He has imprisoned the winds, which is analogous to Juno's chaotic wrath, and shows his Imperium because he can. Jupiter can control, not diffuse chaos, like the winds, Antiphos, and Furor. Jupiter makes appearance in prayers and omens. In this, he answers immediately if the prayers advance Roman Imperium and ignores any others. Jupiter ignores Dido's prayers. He does not help Turnus either, despite both having pietas toward the gods. Prayers for mercy to spare a loved one or for a quick death are ignored, such as Evander's and Euryalus' mother. But he answered Anchises' prayer over Ascanius' flaming head. He answers Aeneas' prayer for help to spare the burning ships. He answers Ascanius' prayer before killing Numanus Remulus, all of which advance Imperium in his ideals. Jupiter also makes his 5th type of encounter, interventions in war. His logic is that the Trojans had to be defeated at Troy, therefore he did, so they could advance in Italy, and therefore they will. The third part of her argument features Jupiter and happiness and Rome. Jupiter values Imperium and Fama for their own worth, not for the choices of happiness, not because it's going to be worth it to Aeneas. Blessings of Imperium and Fama don't matter to Jupiter, only that he acquires them, not what happens to the humans. Human cost to Aeneas, Dido, and Turnus just don't matter in his eyes. But they do to Virgil and Augustus, who don't endorse Jupiter's views, according to Miss Hejduk, as shown by the poetry and the Areopagus. So, was all of this effective? Yes. I thought she made an excellent case on Jupiter's love of Imperium and Fama. Was it persuasive? The first section of it certainly was. But the conclusion, the second and third parts, came about very abruptly, in my opinion. Her arguments were extensive for the beginning, moderate for the middle, and minimal for the last at best. Thank you.